Good afternoon. Welcome to the Chicken Box. This is your host, Kevin Impeccable Peck. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? Are you smiling today? Hey, if you're on the East Coast, it's getting hot. It is starting to get hot. Finally, spring is here, and sometimes that makes people feel better. They can just go outside, just enjoy some fresh air. How you doing today, Courtney? In the lovely
I
Chicago.
I'm doing well. I'm blessed to be here. We have some sunny weather and in the 80s. So I'm like, wow,
In the
80s
80s
in
in
April.
Chicago. Okay. Good
Yeah.
signs are coming up. This is the Chicken Box. Man, this is black people versus BBM, and y'all don't think crazy, y'all. This Black Business Matters Conference. It's the third annual Black Business Matters Conference, and we're getting ready for it. But we have a special guest that popped in. It's been a lot of things happening in sports around, uh, just around the world and around the country, and then how we are represented as African Americans. So we asked a good friend of ours, John Celestin. John, is John with us? John, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good, Kevin. How you doing, man?
Man, I appreciate you just jumping on and just sharing. I mean, you are part of not only Word and Black, but you're the program director at the Night in the LMA Bloom Lab. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
so a lot of our people might not even know what the Night and the LMA Bloom Lab are. But
yeah.
John, a former NBA player of the Los Angeles Lakers and a champion of the a championship team playing along the side of the late great Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. Few
Absolutely.
people have got a chance to even get on that floor. You have been on that stage and you've done it, and you've also transitioned in business. And now I think you might have found your new passion, writing. Is
Well, it's an old passion. It's an
it
old
all?
passion. Yeah, I've always loved to write. I mean, going back to my high school days, and I had the opportunity earlier in my career to write for a few publications. I did some writing when I was covering Big East basketball for Sportsnet New York back in the day. Wrote a few articles for Dime magazine, Slam magazine. So I always did some freelance writing over the years. Haven't done it in a while, so happy to, get back to it because it's always been a passion of mine.
All right, if you just tuned in, yo, I didn't even say this is the Chicken Box. If you're from Baltimore, you know what the Chicken Box is. It's four wings and fries. If you're hungry, you're thinking about it right now. But here, powered by the Afro, yeah, I want to say America's oldest black business, but we're the third oldest black business in America,
That's right.
and the number one in the DMV. 130 years of just empowering, educating, and informing our community. But this is Chicken Boxes where you get to stand and speak your truth. And John, you spoke some truth for the last couple of weeks. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. Since you are a pro athlete and you also have a passion for writing, you wrote something about where are all the blacks in baseball,
Yeah.
or Black Americans, because we got some brown play,
Right.
players, but where are the Black Americans in baseball? Man, what were you thinking about when you decided to write that article?
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because I was talking to Liz, who oversees Word and Black, and she's the managing editor of Word and Black, and we were having a conversation about black players in baseball. And my uncle, he played for the Boston Red Sox, and he was I'm trying to remember the year. He was drafted in the 1969 draft by the Boston Red Sox and led AAA in hitting. So I immediately thought of him to kind of talk to him about what has happened over the year, because even talking to my uncle and my mother as they were growing up in the lower ninth ward in New Orleans back in the day, the main sport that most of them played was baseball.
Right.
Just kids on the street in the lower ninth ward of New Orleans. It wasn't around basketball. It wasn't around football back then. It was baseball, and that was the sport for blacks. And so when you look at the numbers over the years, even not in 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 1991, black players made up, and when I say black players, black American players made up 18% of the league. Now that is down, at least as of last year, to 7.2%.
Say what?
Um, so it's just like, what's happening with the sport? Why aren't black kids gravitating to baseball like they did in the past? There's a lot of competition when it comes to basketball and football and spot and track and other sports. So it's just interesting.
Absolutely. So let's dive into it. Let's get
Mhm.
hi, Dr. Draper. Welcome to the Chicken Box. How are you?
I'm well. How are you? Thank you, John Celestin, for being on today. You wrote about a topic near and dear to my heart. And when we go back into the Afro archives, the great Sam Lacey wrote about
Mhm.
this. But he was concentrating both on the field and in the leadership and ownership as
Yeah.
well. But it seems to be getting worse. And people say, well, it's just too expensive. What do you say to that? When people say, "Well, baseball is just too expensive for Black kids to participate in"?
Well, I think that plays some part into it. When you think about, I grew up with a guy 2 houses down from me, Corey Smith. He was my neighbor, and I interviewed him for this article. He was the number one baseball player in America back in high school. I think he's about 5 or 6 years after me. So this was like early 2000s. And I thought he would be a great interview for this article. And he was the first thing he talked about, Tony, was how much it cost. He talked about bats costing $500, a good glove costing $250. When you think about cleats, that's $100. Not to mention batting gloves and all the other things. He said, off top, you already are spending $1,000. And that's before you even talk about pitching coaches and batting coaches and all the different things. So when you talk about kids in the inner city or urban areas that aren't as affluent, and that's not all Black kids, but there's a percentage of us that maybe cannot afford to play the game, and it's no similar to like it's very similar to like golf and other sports where you have to spend $1,500 to $2,000 just on equipment. So that sets up a little bit of a barrier when it comes to the sport.
Agreed. But I know that the league, says they want to have more, Black kids on the
Yeah,
field younger. Because if you don't get them there younger, that player development doesn't happen.
absolutely. My uncle talked about that when I was speaking to him. He said baseball it's much different than basketball and football, right? Where basketball, you can pick up a ball maybe at 15, 14. If you have the size and the athleticism, you can catch up, right? Football, the same thing. Baseball is a highly skilled sport. You have to get those fundamentals and those skills at a very early age. And it's difficult to pick up a baseball bat or a glove and be able to fill or play shortstop or in the outfield or to hit a curveball or a fastball or a breaking ball when you've never swung a bat at the age of 15 or 16. Just not going to happen. So if you don't get kids involved at an early age, it's going to be very difficult to be successful in the sport they call baseball.
America's America's
Pastime, America's.
yeah, passed. They passed all the Black people. Uh, that's what they've been passing. And why? I mean, why are they going to all of these other countries to get players? Are they no good players, or are the new kids they're just not seeing it, or you think the money is just a barrier?
Well, I think with baseball, which is much different than basketball and football, there's these farm teams. There's AAA. There's all these different levels that you have to go through before you become a professional in the big leagues. You got a lot of kids in other countries like the Dominican Republic that'll come over and play for next to nothing in these on these farm teams at the lower levels, AA, AAA, whereas a lot of African Americans, in my opinion, aren't going to do that. There's other options and other sports that you can play. So I think that's one factor, and again, there's a cultural thing too in baseball, right? Like in talking to my uncle, he was saying back in the day, all Black kids played baseball. But when speaking to Corey, who started playing, who was a star in the early 2000s, and he went to the same high school I went to, and he brought up when I was playing baseball, a lot of kids in the hallways and said, "Why are you playing that white boy sport?" Right? Why? So then there's a cultural thing about baseball not being cool in the Black community. Once you start thinking about hip hop and merging all of those things into basketball and other sports, you don't really see that as much in baseball. And I think that affects young kids wanting to play the game. I asked my son if he wanted to play baseball. My son, all he wants to do is basketball and football. I asked him the other day, my son's 9 years old. I said, you want to play baseball? Because great hand-eye coordination. He's not interested.
But it's also, I think, on the league, because my understanding is that every single team has a player development program in Latin America. Every single major league team has that. And so so the economics of it, which if you look at it through a racial lens, they spend less money developing players in Latin America, right?
Yeah.
Because, it's cheaper to do that. And so that's an intentionality. That in itself, that structure in itself is racist, because you have intentionally decided not to make the investment when, if money is a barrier, if anybody has money, Major League Baseball has money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's not fool ourselves. They have money is not an issue if they really have the political will to want to develop African American players at a young age.
Well, that's true. When you think about any business, a lot of businesses and how they're taking their factories overseas because the labor is cheaper, right? I mean, it's the same thing here. Let's keep it real. This is labor, right? This is, if they can go somewhere else and find players that are just as talented, and then they're going to come over here for the first 5 to 7 years and play at a cheaper rate, from a business standpoint, they're going to jump on that. Doesn't make it right morally, but that is what's happening where that's not the same thing when it comes to basketball and football. There's really no minor leagues or farm teams when it comes to football. Basketball has that, but it's basketball is just it's just the American black game. It's just, again, the cultural piece with basketball and hip hop. You think about the Fab Five and the long socks and Spike Lee and Michael Jordan, how they connected with urban America. It's just different to me than baseball. Tony, I don't know when the last time you've been to a baseball game, but when you go to a basketball game, just last year. Well, you tell me, because I haven't been in a while. I go to basketball games. You hear hip hop blasting from the speakers. You got choreographed dancing from the dance team to hip hop. Is that happening in baseball?
It's not happening. But what happened, if we think about the history of basketball, basketball used to be primarily white too.
The NBA, yes.
NBA,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, brothers and sisters were playing it on the courts outside of the our apartment complexes and other places. But professional basketball, first of all, was always on TV primetime, always, not just for the playoffs, always. Not midnight games. And you had a black player, you really celebrated that. Somebody with a marketing mind realizing, A, the talent was with the black players, and B, all professional sports is nothing but entertainment anyway. So they went on and found out a way to entertain the crowd.
And all the black guys were playing in the ABA, which was a little more flashy. And when they merged the ABA with the NBA, that helped develop the league. That helped bring a little more pizzazz when they brought in Dr. J and guys that were skying and playing a little more loose.
Yep,
and
a little Earl Pearl, Monroe. When they started bringing those players that really were putting on a show on the court.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
but they also had the talent.
Yes, ma'am.
They also had the talent. So, I mean, baseball, I think, is intentionally. People can give all the arguments they want, but I just think it's intentionally kept that way.
Well, that's what my uncle said. My uncle said that when I interviewed him, he said, "This is by design."
Yeah, by design.
He said it's by design. He said the parks, the things in the urban areas, they don't exist anymore for kids to go out and play baseball. I talked to Corey Smith, and he was saying the MLB, they do run programs, and I'm not as familiar with the MLB as I am with the NBA. They run programs in inner cities, and they're trying to, but they're trying to do some of these things, but they need to do more. They need to do more. And I really think the cultural shift will help make baseball look a little more cooler to African-American kids, but they got to really take a look at that. I mean, listen, if you can't get Jay-Z or Beyonce or these rappers to come sit courtside or like you have in basketball and put the camera on them, how are you going to attract folks from our community when you think about hip hop, R&B, and entertainment? You need that. The All-Star game, that's a big thing. Snoop Dogg or whoever's performing, at basketball and the All-Star games. What are you doing at Major League Baseball? I did see, what was the girl that threw out the pitch the other day? The rapper.
Meg Thee Stallion.
You need more of that. Meg Thee Stallion. You need more of that in baseball.
Absolutely.
Right. It's a whole transformation mindset. But go ahead, Impact.
If you just jumped in on this conversation, this is Black People versus Black Business Matters. And we talk about the business of baseball right now with our special friend, John Sellison, NBA Lakers champion, played with Kobe and Shaq, also in LMA, and doing all kinds of business deals and things. And he's been writing some articles. So before you go, let's get to the Angel Reese situation. Let's just get right down to trash talking, John. Because it ain't no sports without trash talking. If I mean, come on, and these participation awards, throw them out the window. Whoever came up with them, give them to them at the house, okay? Because it makes nothing but you a quitter when you get older. That's all it does to me. But John, let's speak on it. Come on, Angel Reese. She did her thing. It wasn't even the worst trash talking that I've seen.
Listen, if you can't deal with this in basketball, especially when I was growing up, because basketball was an urban game. It's transforming a little bit more because it's becoming a little more suburban. But basketball was an urban game, right? When I was coming up, we were playing AAU. We in the South Bronx. We in Harlem. We coming down to Philly. We coming down to DC. We're playing in Baltimore, right? If you can't deal with a little trash talk and the people you can't play this game, right? Because basketball, they right on top of you most of the time. So what Angel Reese did, that was minor in my opinion. But again, you have to look at who she is, right? As a Black woman, right? How she carries herself with the eyelashes and the makeup and whether it's a silk press or the hair weave, right? That's our culture. That's Black culture. And sometimes that is what really intimidates people and scares people, right? She did the same thing that the other young lady from Iowa did, Caitlin Clark. Wasn't much of a difference. So we just have to admit from 2 points here, from a racial standpoint and also from a gender standpoint, we are uncomfortable with our Black female athletes talking noise, talking junk like we are with our Black male athletes. And then the other thing is, it was even Black. I saw Black men complaining about it. And I thought to myself, man, I saw Damian Lillard wave bye-bye when he knocked down a jumper. I used to see Reggie Miller throw the choke sign to Spike Lee. Who was the one that did was that
Shaq? No.
That wasn't Shaq. That was Spreewell did the sign. That comes with the game.
Steph Curry,
Dennis Rodman,
right? This is part of the game, and that's going to bring more eyes and more views. So as men, we got to be comfortable with our our women athletes playing the game and being demonstrative just like we are. And the rest of America just has to get used to Black women being Black women.
Because a lot of the Black women who are good, they are on the court with the men. And a lot of times they're better than everybody on the playground. Yeah. They playing with men. They playing with men on the right on the courts in the hood. Courtney. Right. Before John gets on, what's going through the Gen Z mind about this conversation?
Yeah, I wanted to backtrack back to the conversation when you guys were talking about like the youth not being as interested in baseball anymore. So I'm curious, like, do you think the youth isn't as like interested anymore because the NFL and because the NBA pays more? Because I know children, sometimes they want to go after like a higher paying job. They want the salary. Do you think they're going after the money, or do you think it's like general interest?
You know what? I would love to look at the numbers, Courtney, because I'm not sure that NBA actually pays more. You can make a lot of money in Major League Baseball. And I don't have the numbers offhand, but I would love to see the highest paid baseball player versus the highest paid NBA player, because I don't think it's far off, right? So I don't know if it's really a money thing. The baseball is a slower game, right? It's a much slower game. It's not as exciting. Let's keep it real. Basketball is up and down. Baseball slower. I think that's a component to it. basketball players are just more recognized in America. You walk into any restaurant and you're Dame Lillard or you're Giannis Antetokounmpo or you're LeBron James, people know who you are. I think that the high-end baseball fans will know a baseball guy if he walks in, but the average person, a lot of times somebody can walk in and you won't even know a baseball player who they are. So I just think the popularity of the game just resonates more with black youth right now. I think baseball has a marketing problem, and I think they
when will you ever spice it up? I mean, you know, it's. I mean, they got this time clock coming, which is going to help speed the game up. But you know what they're going to do.
I mean, if you're still playing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game,"
right?
You know, on a loudspeaker at the game, it's just not where.
I mean, they do try to bring entertainment, right? You know, I work with Drew Hill. They brought Drew Hill to the Orioles game.
Good.
Which was different last year. But mainly they bring a lot of rock and roll, a lot of country to the games. You know, they bring entertainment, you know, like for a show directly after the game to get more diversity out to the park. But besides that, you know, like we saw Meg Thee Stallion throw the pitch out the other day.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think people like to play it. Even the people who play baseball, some people don't like to watch it. It's just like golf too. They like golf. Oh, that's the most boring sport in the world. But a lot of over 2 million blacks play.
It's great when you play them. But you got to think about baseball. Can you name a baseball commercial with a black player in it that you can remember? Like I can name basketball commercials, football, but you know, think about it. As an African American, what African American baseball player have you seen in a major ad or commercial that really stands out to you?
I don't even know who's the African American superstar in the league right now.
There's not one, not African, not on those last championship teams. There are some, but they're mostly Latin Americans, you know, Caribbean-born Americans.
Right.
Well, I mean, even in race car driving, you can think of the black race car driver. You know what I mean? You can't even think about it in baseball.
There's only 2 managers, black managers. I think it was the Los Angeles Dave Roberts and Dusty Baker. There were only 2 black managers in baseball. So, I mean, you know, we got an issue here. Football has an issue with
if you listen baseball, MLB, you have a problem in the hood. And I think like you said, it's by design. If we could get these recreation and parks back on track, and if the cities can't do it, maybe Major League Baseball, that's your end to making an impact in the community. Maybe we can open up these rec centers, have these baseball diamonds outside of course, basketball is already there, football will be there, but if we can get just some fun in the game, I mean, even growing up, everybody wanted to play Little League.
Right.
I mean, and the worst person went to right field, right? Because if you were in right field in Little League, you were the worst player on the team.
You're right about that.
But you played.
I at least played center field. I couldn't hit, but I could run.
You could get to it though. You could run it down.
John, I know you had another commitment for this afternoon, so just let us know. Give us the signal when you have to hop off.
Okay? I got about 2 more minutes.
All right, well, I'm gonna let you. We're gonna let you get on the Chicken Boxx about any topic that you want to talk about, whether it's blacks in sports, baseball, or even trash talk, because you know I'm here for it.
Well, let me say this. I'm not sure what Jill Biden was thinking when she invited the Iowa team to the White House, or said she would like, but that's really bothered me. You know, it's really bothered me because I've never seen that happen before, where we're inviting a runner-up, and we can try to dress it up and say whatever we like about it was a mistake, but that to me, I just keep wondering in my head if LSU would have lost, would that same extension have been offered? You know, so that's just something. I didn't get a chance to write about it or anything like that, but it's been something that's been on my mind.
You need to get that off your chest, John. I think you just need to get it off your chest. And I'm gonna give you just something for food for thought. No matter when it's a black and white competing, most people root for the race that they are affiliated with more. It's just a natural. No matter how, it's not saying you hate white people or they hate black people, but you're gonna root for for your nationality. That's just.
Except when I watched Rocky, I think I rooted for Rocky Balboa, but it was a movie, right?
Oh, you was rooting for Rocky.
I was rooting for Rocky Balboa.
You want Clubber Lane to win? I mean, come on. Or Creed. Creed did beat him once, but beat him bad. But no, everybody rooted for Rocky because Rocky was a different situation. But it went back to race.
Yeah,
and you know what I mean. And they really wanted those girls from Iowa to win.
Yeah, that's true.
But Caitlin can play with the best of them. That girl can play.
She can. Oh, she's the best.
But it's a team sport.
It's a team sport, and LSU was on a mission. Angel Reese, Baltimore was on. She showed up and she showed out, and it was great. It was great for women's basketball, man. It was great for women's basketball. All the talking, the trash talk, who cares? People zeroed in and watched the games, and that's what's important.
Absolutely. John, thank you always. You're a friend of the Afro. You're always welcome. Whatever you have on your plate, you can always come on the Chicken Boxx, and we can just talk about it. You know what I mean? Even if it makes just me, you, and a couple other viewers feel good, you can come here just for a feel good day.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the offer, and I'd love to come back anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Keep writing. Keep writing. You thank you for both of those articles. The one on Angel Reese and the one on Black Baseball. I've been thinking about that a lot. I'm saying, you know what? It's not really a money issue.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's really not. It's still a race issue.
Yeah, I think it's both. I think it's both. Yeah.
Well, baseball got money. They should put more money in. They got money.
All right. See y'all later.
All right, guys.
Thank you, John.
Take care. If you just tuned in, this is Black People versus Black Business Matters. We got an expo coming up here. This is the third year. We started out in the pandemic. We've known for a while that Black business does matter. At least to us, but do we show it? Do we support it? Do we come together? Do we build together? Do we give money together? Do we share ideas? Or the answer is yes. Here at the Afro-American newspaper, we thought it's so special that we would have our third annual. And the last two have been all virtual. This year, we're going to do a hybrid. We got some invited, rock stars coming to join us at the office. But it's going to be like a watch party. But for everybody else who's ever paid for a seminar, we have some great sponsors who've already paid. And if you could just roll a list of sponsors, they've paid your way. All you have to do is go get a free ticket. One idea can change your life. One idea can change your business. It's somebody out there who's ready to start. It's somebody out there who's been saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to write this book. I'm going to start this business. I'm ready. And you're going to keep saying, I'm ready until you actually do it. And then you'll be in business. Yes, the Afro started 130 years ago. And so we consider ourselves an authority. So we're going to be sharing. We have JP Morgan Chase, Care First, American Classic. These are the people who believe in you. These are the people, TEDCO, Comcast, PNC. These are the people, DC Small Business Development Center, United Way, Associated Black Charities. These are the people who believe in the Black community and they care about your dollars. They don't just take your money and go take it all the way into their communities. They take the money that you circulate, and then they circulate some back into the Black community, and they're sponsored this because they think Black business is important as well. So I hope you can we got some great speakers. We got Dr. Jamal Bryant. We got Dr. Drake. We got, listen, the list goes on. Go to AfroTix. If you just put that up, AfroTix Live. We have our own event space. You can go to it. You can put your event up there for free. And if it's a paid event, just like the other platforms, you can put your event there and you can receive your money. You can get a digital ticket. You can run your event right on afrotix.live. You don't have to go anywhere else. But that's where you can get your free ticket for Black Business Matters. Dr. Draper, what comes to your mind when you think about Black Business Matters?
One thing that comes to my mind is that there's been an exponential growth in Black businesses over the pandemic since 2017. So up like 15%. So there are nearly 150,000 Black businesses in the United States. Here's the issue, however, and it's not just Black businesses. a lot of those businesses don't make it to the 5-year mark. Some of it is because of the lack of access to capital. So we're going to talk about that at Black Business Matters. Some of it is all around, how our businesses are structured and not structured to grow. And so we're going to talk about that. Some of it is because we don't get the same fair shake in the marketplace. But money is green, and so Black businesses matter. And some of it, I'm going to just say it, is because we don't support ourselves.
Say it.
Yeah, we don't support other Black businesses. The AFRO's working on, getting a directory up. Come on, we need to support our yeah. And I hear people say, yeah, but sometimes the pricing's not this and this is. Look, we got to learn how to help each other. Every business is not legitimate. I'll put that on the table, Black, white, and different, right? But we have many, many, many African-American owned businesses, not just African-American led businesses. There's a difference. Maybe that's another Chicken Boxx. We have many of those that we, should be intentional about supporting. And we have so many entrepreneurs in the ecosystem. Some have started their businesses. Some want to start a business and say, you know what, I don't know how to begin. So during this Black Business Matters Expo on Thursday, April the 27th, from 4 to 7 p.m. for April 20. During that, I think there are 2 tracks, one for those who are newer in business or just starting out, and one for the more mature business, with just a great lineup of speakers, as Impeccable has said.
Let me know. Can you see that?
Yep, the money.
Yeah, just in. Let's see if you can hear it. Can you hear it?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Fresh promo. My graphic designer just sent it to me. It's the 3rd annual. Come on, people. Let's get this knowledge. Mayor Scott, Dr. Bryant, Angelique Milton, Lisa Ware, Marcia Griffin, Norma Holler. Oh, it's some power players on here. Brooke Lemley, me. Lance London, Lexi Taylor. Love was a lesson I had learned it. Took your blueprint and burned it. Now the page that I'm on there and able to turn it. Yes. Give me my rose before the box drop. Give me my villa, give me my drop top. A little high class on the sock top, and I'ma keep on writing for freedom like I'm a Gen Pop. Hey, where y'all at? Afrotix.live. Oh, did we mention it's free? Absolutely. Oh, bravo.
Wow, wonderful. That's the first time seeing the video. Thank you for that.
Oh, no, it just came in. I just happened to look in my inbox. Oh, it's going down, y'all. One idea. Come on, where my business people? Where my leaders at? Share it. Where my teachers? Where my educators? Share it. Let's teach Black business early. The lemonade stand is not by happenstance. That's a young entrepreneur. The cookie, the baker, the maker, the candlestick maker, all of those good things. Listen, we're not gonna stay on here and just take up time. We wanted to talk to John. Baseball has a problem. Major League Baseball has a problem. But they can come to the Afro. We can help them. We can help you with your problem. We can help you get some ideas on how to really get into the community and make a difference. And then maybe some people will see some people that look like them, and maybe they'll want to play this sport. That's such a great sport. And we talked earlier about the money, but the baseball, I think, has more guaranteed contracts than all of the rest of the sports.
And it's a great game. It really is a great game. Not because I played right field, but it's a great game.
You play right field?
I played outfield, wasn't always right field.
All right. Yeah, I mean, women's softball. It's more fun to watch. But if you played before, then you can endure the watching. And sometimes even because if not, Courtney, do you like baseball?
I do not. I'm a basketball fan.
Why do you like baseball? I mean, why do you dislike baseball?
Just the timing. It's like slower paced. I like action. So basketball, like I just stand up. I'm like, yeah, get in there, rebound. But with baseball, it just drags. I can't do it.
It's like you're waiting around for something to happen, then it happens fast, and you're waiting around again for something to happen, then it happens fast, then you're waiting around, and then it happens fast.
Yeah, I eat more than I watch the game sometimes. Like I just get up and walk around and like socialize, get my snacks.
Snacks. It's all about the party. Look, Dr. Draper, I know you're a sports enthusiast. Why do you like baseball? Since we're talking about it,
No, I like these. I like the strategy of baseball, so I can actually watch a game on television. I like going to the stadium. Ball is really small though, depending on where you sit, because it comes so fast. So I like the pitching. I like um, it is a slower game, but I'm a football fan first, baseball second, and then basketball, which is usually contrary to what a lot of people like.
Greg, I forgot about this. Reggie Jackson had the Reggie bar. Was Reggie from Baltimore?
Absolutely.
Reggie was from
Not
Baltimore.
from Baltimore, but he lived in Baltimore, right on Fairview Avenue in West Baltimore.
If you Google Reggie Jackson, it used to be some. We used to have some power
Mr. October.
players, Mr. October, who really made a difference, and we all watched them, and we actually loved to watch them in October. But
Well,
now,
we, right. What we watched, you're right, impeccable. I think when we had somebody to really champion, so we would go and watch Eddie Murray and could say, Murray. I mean, every time he came to bat, right? Reggie Jackson when he played for the Oakland A's. We had our heroes in baseball. Today, you have them, they're not African American, and I'm not taking anything away from the very, very talented Brown brothers who are on the baseball field. Let me say that. Nothing from them. They are talented um, beyond measure, and kudos to them. So it's not an either or. Let me celebrate them, but I want to see African American born and developed players on the field as well.
absolutely, so black business does matter all the way around, and it's a business, y'all. And
A big business.
sometimes labor is replaced because what some will do for one price, others won't. We can talk about that all day. But look, April 27th, virtually, you're gonna be able to come stream into your phone, tablet, computer, favorite streaming, uh, whatever device, Roku or whatever it is, and watch the Black Business Matters conference. And there'll be some who will share it with us live. But I believe me, it's going to be more than one thing that said that's going to help your business if you're already in business. That said, oh, I didn't know about that software. I didn't know about that program. I didn't know about that way of doing things. It's going to be the others. We're going to push you off the ledge and you're going to get started into business. And you're going to find some people who can look like you, who've been through it, who are going to tell you their stories. And through their stories, you're going to find inspiration and to get started. We're admonishing you to get started. Go to AfroTix Live. We have partner with some great sponsors just to make sure that we can offer it free to our community.
So, yeah, so even if people can't attend the whole 3 hours, I'm going to still encourage you, please register. I think we're going to send you the link later that you can watch the parts that you missed. But we're talking about supporting Black businesses. It supports us when you register. It doesn't cost you anything but the click. This is our own event registration platform, which is, everybody's used to going to another one or ones, but we have our own AfroTix.live. The tickets are free. Somebody say free. Only thing we ask is for your time and your registration so that we can get that information to you. I can't wait to see and hear all that has been produced so far. It's going to be phenomenal.
And if you think this is a commercial just about Black Business Matters, it is, okay? Just in case you think you're watching a commercial, it is actually a commercial. This is us really urging you to share with a friend of something free that's happening that can impact your life or somebody
else. When you go to AfroTix.live, you'll see another event that we're having since we're doing commercials, which is our high tea. But if you click on that and you say, wow, this thing, can't get a ticket. It's because that event is almost sold out and it does cost. We have over 500 people coming, and that is in Baltimore on April 22nd as we're honoring Maryland's first ladies, right? We're honoring the First Lady of Maryland, Dawn Moore, We're honoring Brooke Learman, the first elected comptroller in our own right. We're honoring Aruna Miller, who is our lieutenant governor in Maryland, first woman of color to be in that position. And we're honoring Speaker of the House, Adrienne Jones, the first African American woman to be in that position. And all four of them have committed to coming to the tea. So, get your
Well, it's
and God,
called high tea, not ladies tea.
no,
But
it's a
still,
high tea. Men will be there too.
yeah, I was asking for a friend because somebody asked me, "Will any single ladies be there?"
Oh my gosh. Well,
Not for myself. I'm done.
I know you're not asking for yourself. There'll be, I put it this way. Right now it looks as if we'll have over 600 people there. I can't imagine 600 mainly women in that room and not having single ladies in the room.
Devontae Lee, what is your event? You can go to afrotix.live. The Afro Magica community exists. Okay, we need to find out about it. We'll have our producer just contact you, and we'll see how we can learn about it. Afro Magica. All right.
Thank you. So impeccable. That reminds me, for those who are watching now or maybe watching this later, we don't pretend to know everything about everything. So there's so many. I said there are almost 150,000 Black businesses out there. We want to know about your business. We want to know about what you do as well.
So if you go to afro.com, there's something at the top that says events, Javante, and it's a way to list your event as well. But we'd like to, if we've never heard of the Afro Magica community, let's see what we're talking about. The Afro Magica community. I can't get it all right this second, but thank you for sharing it with us, and we'll look into it. All the single ladies, Craig Talley said. But by the way, the tea is going to be nice. It's a high tea. When I think of it, it sounds bougie, but it is. It's dressing up. It's looking cute. It's all of those grandiose things. It's honoring some powerful people who've done powerful things in the community. And it's a good time. Anytime you've done it more than once, that means people really enjoyed it and they came back and it gets stronger and bigger every year. So we look forward to these events and we look forward to your events. We're going to jump off. We can go around. Courtney, you can jump on the box. Anything you want to say about Black Business Matters, today's topic, sports, or anything that you've got to just get off your chest.
Yes, I'm very excited for the expo. I had the chance to do some recordings for it, and I had the opportunity to record Mr. Stewart, and he was speaking on the creation of generational wealth. So that was a great topic, and I highly encourage everyone to get your tickets. You can learn how to build a legacy. He spoke on that, and we previously spoke about that on a prior Chicken Boxx episode. So I say everyone get your tickets, tune in, and I'm just so excited. We also had the opportunity to have Gabby Simone on. Her voice is beautiful, so I'm so excited to see her perform again. So
Absolutely.
I'm off the box.
Dr. Draper?
I share your enthusiasm for Black Business Matters Expo. Also want to say about the tea on April 22nd. Listen, it's for everybody. We're honoring some pretty high-powered folk. But when I think about those who come to that tea, it's for everybody. And we even had some spots that were purchased so that some of our younger people could come, high school students. And I think the youngest registrant I saw for the tea is 5. She was there last year at 4. So she's ready to come back at 5. In terms of Black Business Matters Expo, yes, we are the 3rd oldest Black-owned business in the United States, but by no means have we reached every goal that we believe we should reach as a business. And so I'm presenting, I understand, I'm saying something at Black Business Matters Expo, but I'm really going to learn because there's so much that I don't know and we don't know that's going to help us grow this business and to sustain it for many generations to come. Generational wealth is something that escapes most of us. And even, when a lot of times when the founder, the owner of the business dies, so does the business. So I'm interested in finding out as much as I can. And I'm going as a sponge and a learner on April the 27th. And I have registered. I have my free ticket for the Black Business Matters Expo, and I got it from AfroTix, TIX.live. I'm off the box.
Wow. You just tuned in. I was just reading the text. These people are going crazy in Louisville. It says it's been reported that two men with assault rifles have attempted to go to an elementary school. Two different ones. They tried it three different times. I don't know what is going on in Louisville or around the world, but our prayers are that these people will be detained and stopped automatically. Um, and I wasn't even planning on getting on the box about that, but I think whoever put in the all call to just destroy, y'all pay attention. Pay attention. You can't stop all of these crazy. We were thinking about because you don't know you're sitting next to somebody, and the next moment they come back to work and shoot everybody up. We don't know what's going through people's mind. We don't know what clicks their switch and what makes somebody think that it's okay to take somebody else's life. But I pray that they stumble and knock all their teeth out. I'm not even praying that they die. I'm praying that something happens along the way on their and that their plans are full. They get caught. They do something stupid, whatever it needs to take, because it is turning into all out craziness, and we really have to pay attention, y'all. We can't just be entertained. We have to pay attention to what's going on. And so I'm sure you'll be hearing more about all of these
So,
things.
so there are a lot of there are a lot of people who are struggling mentally. I think that and for our viewers, we'll be looking for a guest to come and talk about this. But so the family of the person who killed the folk in the bank in Kentucky, right? Family says, hey, we knew he was dealing with some issues and had some depression. Well, having depression, dealing with some issues is not enough to lock anybody up, but it's a cry for help. But most families don't know. We don't know what to do. You see it, and it's almost in every. I don't want to say in every family, but it's in a lot of, especially since COVID. People are under a lot of mental stress. So even if you see it, there's nothing you can. The mom, when she got the message that her son had purchased a gun and was on his way to the bank, she called 911. The police responded quickly, but still lives were lost. And if you can't call the police every time a person acts, abnormal, because they're not going to respond to that. So that may be another chicken box for one of our mental health professionals to come and help those of us who see this. I mean, what are we supposed to do when it's in our own families? Now, I could be wrong about this, but I think that if we surveyed our viewers and the average family, we all have somebody, that we are concerned about, either because they have an anger problem or they seem to be depressed all the time, or they talk about harming themselves or other people, and we kind of just miss it because we've heard it all the time.
Yeah, or sometimes people just say they're having a bad day or they're having a moment, and you don't get into their moment. You give them some space. You know what I mean? To be whatever they need to deal with, and a lot of times people don't want to talk about it, but we're talking about it. I think sometimes it's good to talk about it because things that bother people and they don't talk about, they compartmentalize it and they keep it locked in, and then somebody on the other end gets the explosion. So until next week, always call a senior. Matter of fact, add somebody else who's not senior to the list today, and just tell them you love them, tell them you're thinking about them, and I believe me, it will change their life. That senior who hadn't heard from you, do not text them, even though you know their fonts are bigger than an LED screen font. You do not text them, call them so they can hear your voice, and it'll make their day. It's not going to take up too much time. You spend more time on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever else. Take the time to call somebody. Until next week, Black Business Matters is coming. The high tea next week. I hope you guys have a fabulous event. I won't make it this year at the tea, but my wife will be there. She'll fill me in on all of the details. Courtney, Dr. Draper, and everybody listening, Javante, Craig, everybody else who's watching on a replay. Thank you for sharing today, and we look forward to seeing you next week. As we always say, God willing. Have a great day.